Shabbatah and Shalom on the Sabbath day. Again, I'm going to do another part to this expository teaching in the book of Samuel. I'm going to start in chapter 23. Again, today is the 28th day of the 12th month of the year 5779, according to our discernment of the calendar. It's also the 7th day of the 3rd month of the year 2020 on the Gregorian calendar. Again, this is part 6. We're going to begin in chapter 23, and again, I'll open in prayer once more. Again, Father, as we come before you, we ask that you would anoint me and anoint all those that are listening, and Father, give them an extra unction of the Ruach HaKodesh, that Holy Spirit, and teach us all things, Father. Show us what it is you'd have us to know from this scripture. And Father, let it be your words and not mine. And we just, again, ask you to be with all the brokenhearted today, Father. We ask it in your precious Son, Yahushua's name. Amen. Okay, we're going to continue this expository teaching in chapter 23. This is part 6. Then they told David, they told David, saying, Behold, the Philistines fight against Keilah, and they rob the threshing in floors. Therefore David inquired of Yahuwah. So he went to the Father in prayer, saying, Shall I go and smite the Philistines, or attack the Philistines? And Yahuwah said unto David, Go and attack the Philistines, and save Keilah. And David's men said unto him, Behold, we be afraid here in Yehudah. How much more then, if we come to Keilah against the armies of the Philistines? Then David inquired of Yahuwah yet again, and Yahuwah answered him, and said, Now we know no one's ever heard Yahuwah's voice or seen his form at any time. The one that is always answering for him is the Ruach, the spirit of Yahuwah, the spirit of Elohim, the Malach of Yahuwah, the messenger of Yahuwah, which is the Holy Spirit, or the Ruach HaKodesh. And again it said, And Yahuwah answered him and said, Arise, go down to Keilah, for I will deliver the Philistines into your hand. So David and his men went to Keilah and fought with the Philistines, and brought away their cattle and smote them with a great slaughter, the Philistines, not the cattle. So David saved the inhabitants of Keilah. And it came to pass, when Abiathar, the son of Ahimelech, fled to David to Keilah, that he came down with an ephod, or a priestly garment, in his hand. And it was told Shaul that David, or Saul in English, and David, it was told to David, was come to Keilah, that David was come to Keilah. And Shaul said, Elohim hath delivered him into my hand, for he is shut in, or he is surrounded, by entering into a town that hath gates and bars. And Shaul called all the people together to war, to go down to Keilah to besiege or to attack David and his men. And David knew that Shaul secretly plotted evil against him. And he said to Abiathar the priest, Bring here the ephod, or the priestly garment. Then said David, O Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, your servant has certainly heard that Shaul seeks to come to Keilah to destroy the city because of me. Will the men of Keilah deliver me up into his hand? Will Shaul come down as your servant hath heard, as David has heard? O Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, I beg you, tell your servant. And Yahuwah said, again, through the Holy Spirit, or the Ruach HaKodesh, he will come down. Then said David, Will the men of Keilah deliver or surrender? Okay, will the men of the surrender? I lost my spot there. Will the men of Keilah surrender to me up into my hands, into his hands? Will Shaul come down? In other words, will the people of Keilah surrender to Shaul? Will Shaul come down as your servant has heard? O Yahuwah of Elohim, I beg you, tell your servant. And Yahuwah said, he will come down. I'm rereading this. I lost my spot a while ago. Verse 12. Then said David, will the men of Keilah surrender to me and my men unto the hand of Shaul? And Yahuwah said, they will surrender up to you. Then David and his men, which were about 600, arose and departed out of Keilah and went wherever they could. And it was told Shaul that David was escaped from Keilah, and he forbore, or he refrained from going. And David abode or stayed in the wilderness in the strongholds, and remained in the mountain in the wilderness of Ziph. And Shaul sought him every day, and Elohim delivered him not into his hand, or Elohim did not deliver him to his hand. And David saw that Shaul was come out to seek his life, and David was in the wilderness of Ziph in a forest. And Jonathan, Shaul's son, arose and went to David into the forest, and encouraged him in Elohim. And he said unto him, fear not, for the hand of Shaul my father shall not find you, and you shall be king over Israel, and I shall be next unto you. And that also Shaul my father knows. And they two made an agreement, or a covenant, before Yahuwah. So they made an agreement, and they did it in the sight of Yahuwah. And David stayed in the forest, and Jonathan went to his house, or to his family. Then came up the Ziphites to Shaul to Gibeah, saying, doth not David hide himself with us in the strongholds, or in the forest, in the hill of Hechilah, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, which is on the south of Yeshaman? 20. Now therefore, O king, come down according to all the desire of your heart, or your soul, to come down, and our part shall be to deliver him into the king's hand. And Shaul said, blessed be you of Yahuwah, for you have compassion on me. Go, I beg you, prepare yet, and know and see his place where his foot is, and who hath seen him there, for it is told me that he delays very craftily, or subtly. Verse 23. So therefore, and take knowledge of all the lurking places where he hides himself, and come you again to me with the certainty, and I will go with you. And it shall come to pass, if he be in the land, that I will search him out, or I will find him throughout all the thousands of Yehudah, all the thousands of Yehudah. And they arose and went to Ziph before Shaul. But David and his men were in the wilderness of Maon, in the plain on the south of Yeshaman. And Shaul also and his men went to seek him. And they told David wherefore he came down into a rock, or to the rock, and abode in the wilderness of Maon. And when Shaul heard that, he pursued after David in the wilderness of Maon. And Shaul went on this side of the mountain, and David and his men on that side of the mountain. And David made haste to get away for fear of Shaul. For Shaul and his men surrounded David and his men round about to take him. But there came a messenger, or a malach in Hebrew, unto Shaul, saying, Hurry you, and come, for the Philistines have invaded the land. Therefore Shaul returned from pursuing after David, and went against the Philistines. Therefore they called that place Selaham Malikoth. And David went up from there and dwelled in the strongholds at Engedi. And I slayed probably both those, so forgive me on those pronunciations. Chapter 24. And it came to pass, when Shaul was returned from following the Philistines, that it was told him, saying, Behold, David is in the wilderness of Engedi. I think that's close. 2. Then Shaul took 3,000 chosen men out of Israel, or choice men. It's chosen, it says here. They're the ones he chose, and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats. And he came to this sheepcotes, or to the sheepfold where they kept the sheep, by the way, where was a cave, and Shaul went in to relieve himself, and David and his men remained in the back of the caves. And the men of David said unto him, Behold, the day of which Yahuwah said unto you, Behold, I will deliver your enemy into your hand, that you mayest do to him as it seems good unto you. Okay, and that's all circled because, and bordered there, because earlier that was prophesied. Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Shaul's robe secretly. And it came to pass afterward that David's heart smote him, because he had cut off Shaul's skirt. And that's talking the hymn, and that's talking about cutting off his lineage. And he said unto his men, Yahuwah forbid that I should do this thing unto my master. Yahuwah's anointed, which he's talking about Shaul being Yahuwah's anointed, or the anointed of Yahuwah would be better way that it would be written in Hebrew, to stretch forth my hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of Yahuwah. So David retrained, or with his servants, or held them back with these words, and allowed them not to rise against Shaul. But Shaul rose up out of the cave and went on his way. David also arose afterward and went out of the cave and cried after Shaul, saying, My master, the king. And when Shaul looked behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed himself. And David said to Shaul, why hear you men's words, saying, Behold, David seeks your harm. Behold, this day your eyes have seen how that Yahuwah had delivered you today into my hand in the cave, and some bade me kill you, or some told me to kill you, but my eye spared you. And I said, I will not put forth my hand against my master, for he is the anointed of Yahuwah. Moreover, my father say yes, the skirt, okay, or the hem of your robe in my hand. It's talking again about his lineage, cutting off his lineage, his kingship, his authority. For in that I cut off the skirt of your robe and killed you not, know you and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in my hand, and I have not sinned against you. You hunt us my life, or you seek my life to take it. Yahuwah judge, and he's saying to Shaul, Yahuwah judge between me and you, and Yahuwah avenged me of you, but my hand shall not be put upon you. As saith the proverb of the ancients, wickedness proceedeth from the wicked, but my hand shall not be upon you. After whom is the king of Israel come out? He says, after whom is the king of Israel come out? After whom do you pursue? After a dead dog? After a flea? Yahuwah therefore be judge, and judge between me and you, and see and plead my case, and deliver me out of your hand. And it came to pass, when David had made an end of speaking these words, when he finished his speech unto Shaul, that Shaul said, Is this your voice, my son David? And Shaul lifted up his voice and cried or wept. And he said to David, You are a more righteous than I, for you has rewarded me good, whereas I have rewarded you with evil. And you have showed this day how that you have dealt well with me, for as much as when Yahuwah had delivered me into your hand, you didn't kill me. For if a man find his enemy, will he let him go away safely? Therefore Yahuwah reward you good for that you has done unto me this day. In other words, for not killing him. And now, behold, I know well that you shall surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in your hand. Swear now therefore unto me by Yahuwah that you will not cut off my descendants after me, and that you will not destroy my name out of my father's family. And David sware unto Shaul, and Shaul went home, but David and his men got them up and unto a place of safety, a stronghold. Okay? Chapter 25. And Samuel died, and all the Israelites were gathered together and lamented or mourned him or cried about him, and buried him in his house, or his area where his family was buried at Ramah. It's like a graveyard. And they didn't bury in graves like we did today, more like tombs. But he was buried with his family. That's what that's talking about. Down to the wilderness of Paran. And there was a man in Maon whose business was in Carmel. And the man was very great, and he had 3,000 sheep and 3,000 goats. And he was shearing his sheep in Carmel, or Carmel, might be pronounced. 3. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife was Abigail. And she was a woman of good understanding and of a beautiful countenance. But the man was cruel and stubborn and evil in his doings. And he was of the house of Caleb. We all know who Caleb is. And again, that would be the house of Yehuda. And David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did shear his sheep. And David sent out 10 young men. And David said unto the young men, Get you up to Carmel, or Carmel, and go to Nabal, and greet him in my name. And thus shall you say to him that lives in prosperity, Peace be both to you, and peace be to your family, and peace be unto all that you have. Verse 7. And now I have heard that you have shearers. Now your shepherds, which were with us, will hurt them not, neither hurt them. Neither was there anything missing unto them all the while they were in Carmel. Or that's good enough. Verse 8, Ask your young men, and they will show you. Therefore, let the young men find favor in your eyes, for we come in a good day. Give, I pray you, whatsoever comes to your hand unto your servant and unto your son David. Verse 9, And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all the words in the name of Dawood, and ceased. And Nabal answered Dawood's servants and said, Who is Dawood? And who is the son of Jesse? There be many servants now a day and a days that break away every man from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my butchered meat that I have killed for my shearers, and give it unto men whom I know where they come from? So Dawood's young men turned their way and went again, and came and told him all those sayings. And Dawood said unto his men, Gird you on every man his sword, or put on your sword. And they put on every man his sword. And Dawood also put on his sword. And there went up after Dawood about 400 men, and 200 stayed, but with their accessories, their baggage. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, Behold, Dawood sent Malachim, in Hebrew, messengers, the same word as would be angels, okay? It's just they choose to translate it angels where they will, and again, I think that's to mislead more than anything, okay? But Malachim, these people had a message, okay? And I lost my spot again. Okay, David sent Malachim out of the wilderness to salute or to greet our master, and he railed on them. We all know what that means. He hollered at them. Verse 15, But the men were very good unto us, and we were not harmed. Neither missed we anything, as long as we were conversant, or they were talking with them, when we were in the fields. Verse 16, They were a protection unto us both by night and day, all the while we were with them, keeping the sheep. Verse 17, Now, therefore, know and consider what you will do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his family. For he is such a son of Belial, he is a worthless one, that a man cannot speak to him. Verse 18, And Abigail made haste, or hurried, and took 200 loaves and 2 bottles of wine, and 5 sheep ready dressed, and 5 measures of parched grain, and 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on donkeys. Verse 19, And she said unto her servants, Go on before me. Behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal, and it was so. And as she rode on the donkey, that she came down by the covert of the hill, the side of the hill, okay? And behold, Dawood and his men came down against her, or after her, and she met them. And Dawood had said, Surely in vain have I kept all that this fellow hath in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that pertained unto him. And he hath returned me evil for good. So and more also do Elohim unto the enemies of Dawood. If I leave of all that pertain to him, leave all his stuff, don't take anything, by morning light, any that piss against the wall, talking about males, obviously, women don't pee against the wall. Verse 23, And when Abigail saw Dawood, she hurried and lighted or jumped off of the donkey and fell before Dawood on her face, bowed down before him, and bowed herself to the ground. 24, And fell at his feet and said, Upon me, my master, upon me let this lawless or this sin be, and let your handmaiden, I beg you, speak in your audience or in your presence, and hear the words of your handmaid. Let not my master, I beg you, regard this man of Belial, this worthless one, this fool, even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal, meaning fool, is his name. and folly is with him. But I, your handmaiden, saw not the young man of my master, whom you did send. Now therefore, my master, as Yahuwah lives, and as your life lives, or as you live, seeing Yahuwah hath withholden you from coming to the shed blood, and from avenging yourself with your own hand, now let your enemies and they that seek evil to my master be as Nabal. Okay, verse 27. And now this blessing, which your handmaiden hath brought unto my master, let it even be given unto the young men that follow my master. And I pray you, forgive the trespass of your handmaiden, for Yahuwah will certainly make my master a established house, because my master fighteth the battles of Yahuwah, and evil hath not been found in you all your days. Yet a man is risen to pursue you and to seek your life, but the life of my master shall be bound in the bundle of life with Yahuwah your Elohim, and the lives of your enemies, them shall he sling out, as out of the middle of a sling. And it shall come to pass, when Yahuwah shall have done to my master, according to all that the good that he hath spoken concerning you, and shall have appointed you ruler over Israel, that this shall be no grief unto you, nor offense of heart unto my master, either that you have shed blood causeless or for nothing, or that my master had avenged himself. But when Yahuwah shall have dealt well with my master, then remember your handmaiden. 32. And David said to Abigail, Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, which sent you this day to me. And blessed be thy advice, and blessed be you, which has kept me this day from coming to shed blood, and from avenging myself with my own hand. For in very deed has Yahuwah Elohim of Israel lives, as Yahuwah Elohim of Israel lives, which hath kept me back from hurting you, except you have hurried and come to meet me. Surely there had not been left unto Nabal, but by the morning light, any that peed against the wall, or males. There wouldn't be any been left of the whole family. So David received of her that which she had brought him, and said unto her, Go up in peace to your family. See, I have listened to your voice, and have accepted your person. Okay, because obviously David wasn't a respecter of persons. You know, he received her as she was. Verse 36, And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunken. See, and it does, relate to being merry and being drunk. But you don't have to be drunk to be merry. But in this case, he was. Okay. Therefore she told him nothing less or more, until the morning light. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, when he was sobered up, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone. And it came to pass about 10 days after that, Yahuwah smote Nabal, that he died. So that's when his heart died within him. And that's literally talking about his heart. And when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed be Yahuwah that hath pleaded the cause of my reproach, or my contempt, from the hand of Nabal, and hath kept his servant from evil. For Yahuwah hath returned the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. And David sent and communed, or talked, and David sent and talked with Abigail to take her to him to wife. Verse 40, And when the servants of David were come to Abigail to Carmel, they spake unto her, saying, David sent us unto you to take you to him to wife. And she arose and bowed herself on her face to the earth, and said, Behold, let thy handmaiden be a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my master. And Abigail hasted and arose and rode upon a donkey with 5 young women of hers that went after her, and she went after the Malachim, or the messengers of David, and became his wife. And David also took Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they were also both of them his wives. But Shaul had given Michal, his daughter, David's wife, to Philitai, the son of Laish, which was of Galem. Which Shaul, or Saul, continues to not be of good report here by not following through with what he did. He actually caused Michal to commit adultery. Okay, verse 20, chapter 26. And the Ziphites came unto Shaul to Gibeah, saying, Doth not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Yeshimon? Then Shaul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. So again, he's going down to try to kill David or David. Verse 3, And Shaul camped in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Yeshimon, by the way, but David abode in the wilderness, and he saw that Shaul came after him in the wilderness. David therefore sent out spies, understood that Shaul was come in very deed, so in other words, in person. And David arose and came to the place where Shaul had camped, and David beheld the place where Shaul laid, and Abner the son of Ner, the captain of his army, and Shaul lay in the trench, or in a ditch, and the people camped round about him. Then answered David and said, Ahimelech the Hittite, and to Abishai, the son of Zariah, brother to Joab, saying, Who will go down with me to Shaul to the camp? And Abishai said, I will go down with you. So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Shaul lay sleeping within the trench, or the ditch, and his spear stuck in the ground at his head, or next to his head. And Abner, the people, lay round about him. Then said Abishai to David, Elohim have delivered your enemy into your hand this day. Now therefore let me strike him, I beg you, with the spear, even to the earth, with one stroke, and I will not smite him the second time. And David said unto Abishai, Destroy him not, for who can stretch forth, or who can lay his hand against Yahuwah's anointed and be guiltless? He doesn't want him to have that sin on him. And David said furthermore, As Yahuwah lives, Yahuwah shall strike him, or his day shall come to. For his day, it says or, but I'm going to say, for his day shall come to die, or he shall descend unto battle and perish. Yahuwah forbid that I should stretch forth my hand against the anointed of Yahuwah, but I beg you, take you now the spear that is in his head, or next to his head, and the jug of water, and let us go. So David took the spear and the curse I'm sorry, and the cruse, which is a container of water, from Shaul's head, and they got them away, and they got away, and no man saw it, nor knew it, neither did they wake up, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from Yahuwah was fallen upon them. So they were a little more than normally asleep, and they were able to escape. Verse 13, then David went over to the other side and stood on the top of an hill afar off, a great place being between them, a large area between them. And David cried to the people and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, answer you, or do you not answer, Abner? Then Abner answered and said, who are you that cries to the king? And David said unto Abner, are not you a valiant man? And who is like to you in Israel? Why then have you not kept your master, the king? For there came one of the people in to destroy the king, your master. This thing is not good that you have done. As Yahuwah lives, you are worthy to die, but you have not kept your master. You've not protected your master, Yahuwah, the anointed of Yahuwah. And now see where the king's spear is, and the jug or container of water that was at his head. And Saul knew David's voice and said, is this voice my son David? And David said, it is my voice, my master, O king. And he said, why does my master pursue after his servant? For what have I done? Or what evil is in my hand? Verse 19, now therefore I pray you, let my master, the king, hear the words of his servant. If Yahuwah have stirred you up against me, let him accept an offering. But if they be the ben of men, cursed be they before Yahuwah. For they have driven me out this day from abiding in the inheritance of Yahuwah, saying, go serve other Elohim. Okay, other gods is Elohim. Verse 20, now therefore let not my blood fall to the earth before the face of Yahuwah, for the king of Israel is come out to seek a flea, as when one does hunt a partridge in the mountains. Then said Shaul, I have sinned, return my son David, for I will no more do you harm, because my life was precious in your eyes this day. Behold, I have played the fool, and have erred exceedingly, or erred greatly. And David answered and said, behold the king's spear, and let one of the young men come over and bring it. Yahuwah rendered to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness. For Yahuwah delivered you into my hand today, but I would not stretch forth my hand against Yahuwah's anointed, or the anointed of Yahuwah. That's how it reads in Hebrew. And behold, as your life was much set by this day in my eyes, so let my life be set much by in the eyes of Yahuwah. In other words, let my life be valuable before Yahuwah, and let him deliver me out of all tribulation. Then Shaul said to David, blessed be you, my son David. Thou shalt both do great things, and also shall still prevail. So David went on his way, and Shaul returned to his place. Chapter 27. And David, or David in English, so that if some picked up later, you know who I'm speaking of here, said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Shaul, or Saul in English. There is nothing better for me than that I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines, and Shaul shall despair of me, to seek me any more in any land or coast of Israel, any of the borders of Israel. So shall I escape out of his hand. And David arose, and he passed over the 600 men that were with him into Achish. the Ben of Moach, king of Gath, which is the son. Ben in Hebrew is son in English of Maach. And David, or David, dwelt with Achish at Gath, he and his men, every man with his household, even David with his 2 wives, Ahinoam, I'll get that right, I'm not very good sometimes with these, and Jezreel, and Abigail, the Carmelitess, the lady from Carmel, Nabal's wife. And it was told Shaul that David had fled to Gath, and he sought no more again for him. And David said unto Achish, if I have now found grace in your eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country, that I may dwell there. For why should your servant dwell in the royal city with you? Then Achish gave him Ziklag that day, wherefore Ziklag pertains unto the kings of Yehuda unto this day. In other words, to the day this was written. And the time that David dwelt in the country of the Philistines, or Philistines, was a full year and 4 months. And David and his men went up and invaded the Geshurites, and the Gizerites, and the Amalekites, for those nations were from ancient times, the inhabitants of the land, as you go to Shur, even unto the land of Egypt. And David attacked the land, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took away the sheep, and the oxen, and the donkeys, and the camels, and the apparel or the clothing, and returned and came to Achish. And Achish said, where have you made a raid today? And David said, against the south of Yehuda, and against the south of Uramelites, and against, I'll get it right here in a minute, Uramelites, and against the south of the Kenites. And David saved neither man nor woman alive to bring tidings to Gath, saying, lest they should tell on us, saying, so did David, and so was his practice, and all the while he dwells in the country of the Philistines. And Achish believed David, saying, he hath made his people Israel utterly to arbor him. Therefore he shall be my servant forever. Chapter 28. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, know you assuredly that you shall go out with me to battle, you and your men. And David said to Achish, surely you shall know what your servant can do. And Achish said to David, for this reason will I make you keeper of my head forever, protector, his like bodyguard. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had cried or lamentated or, bewailed him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Shaul had put away mediums, or he had stopped going to familiar spirits and wizards out of the land. He'd gotten rid of them. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and camped in Shunem. And Shaul gathered all Israel together, and they camped in Gilboa. Got it, I think. Verse 5, and when Shaul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. And when Shaul inquired or asked of Yahuwah, Yahuwah answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor, what Urim and Thummim are, neither by Urim nor by the prophets. And we know Samuel was dead, so he couldn't go talk to him. Then said Shaul to his servants, seek me a woman that has familiar spirits, or a medium, that he could speak to the dead. You're going to try to draw Samuel. Okay, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit in Endor. And Shaul disguised himself and put on other clothing, and he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night, and he said, I beg you, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto you. And the woman said unto him, behold, you know what Shaul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits and wizards out of the land. Therefore then lay you a snare or a trap for my life to cause me to die. And Shaul sware to her by Yahuwah, saying, as Yahuwah lives, there shall no punishment happen to you for this thing. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up unto you? And he said, bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Shaul, saying, why hast thou delivered me? For thou art Shaul. Now notice it said the woman said. We know Samuel's dead. Okay. Verse 13, the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what did you see? And the woman said unto Shaul, I saw Elohim ascending out of heaven. Okay. Notice it says I saw gods. It said in the Hebrew, it says Elohim, and it's talking about Elohim ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, what form is he of? And she said, the old man comes up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Shaul perceived that it was Samuel. And he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said unto Shaul. Now, notice it said, I saw Elohim coming down. This is not Samuel himself. Why hast thou disquieted me, or disturbed me, to bring me up? And Shaul answered, I am very distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and Elohim is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by my dreams. Therefore I have called you, that you may make known unto me what I should do. Then said Samuel, why then do you ask of me, seeing Yahuwah is departed from you and is become your enemy? And Yahuwah hath done to him as he spake by me. In other words, I've told you this is going to happen. For Yahuwah hath torn the kingdom out of your hand and given it to your neighbor, even to David or Dawid, because you obeyed not the voice of Yahuwah. Now again, this is speaking of the Ruach HaKodesh. That's the voice of Yahuwah. Nor executed his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath Yahuwah done this thing unto you this day. Moreover, Yahuwah will also deliver Israel with you unto the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shall you and your ben, or your sons, be with me. In other words, be dead. Okay? Yahuwah also shall deliver the host or the army of Israel unto the hands of the Philistines. Then Shaul fell straightway along the earth, and was very afraid because of the words of Samuel, and there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all day, nor all that night. And the women came unto Shaul, and saw that he was very troubled, and said unto him, Behold, your handmaiden hath obeyed your voice, and hath put my life in my hand. and have listened unto your words which you spoke unto me. 22. Now therefore, I beg you, listen you also unto the voice of your handmaid, and let me set a piece of bread before you, and eat, that you mayest have strength when you go on your way. But he refused and said, I will not eat. But his servants together with the woman compelled him, or convinced him, and he listened unto their voice. So he arose from the earth and sat upon the bed. And the woman had a fat calf in the house, and she hurried and killed it, and took flour and kneaded it, obviously to make leavened bread, and did bake. Oh no, she kneaded it, but she did bake unleavened bread. Anytime it says unleavened bread, it's talking about without leaven, obviously, thereof. So it obviously is for a sacrifice. And she brought it before Shaul and before his servants, and they did eat. Then they rose up and went away that night. But it was obviously unleavened bread for whatever reason, not positive. Chapter 29. Now the Philistines gathered together all their armies to Aphek, and the Israelites camped by a fountain, or a spring, which is in Jezreel. And the masters of the Philistines passed on by hundreds, or the captains, and by thousands, but David and his men passed on behind them, in the rear guard, behind them. And Achish. Then said the princes of the Philistines, what do these Hebrews here? Or what are these Hebrews doing? And Achish said unto the princes of the Philistines, is not this David, the servant of Shaul, the king of Israel, which hath been with me these days, or these years, and I have found no fault in him? He fell unto me, or he deserted them unto me this day. The princes of the Philistines were angry with him. And the princes of the Philistines said unto him, make this fellow return, that he may go again to his place which you has appointed him, and let him not go down with us to battle, lest in the battle he be an adversary to us. For wherewith should he reconcile himself unto his master? Talking about Shaul. Should it not be with the heads of these men? Should he not be with Shaul and Israel? Is not this David, of whom they sang one to another in dances, saying, Shaul slew his thousands, and David his 10,000s? Then Achish called David and said unto him, surely as Yahuwah lives, you have been upright, and you're going out and you're coming in. Okay, with me in the host in good in my sight, for I have not found evil in you since the day of your coming unto me unto this day. Nevertheless, the captains or the masters don't favor you. Therefore now return and go in peace, that you displease not the captains of the Philistines. And David said unto Achish, but what have I done? And what hast thou found in your servant, so long as I have been with you unto this day, that I may not go fight against the enemy of my master the king? And Achish answered and said, David, I know that thou art good in my sight as a malach, okay, a messenger of Elohim, okay? Is David an angel? Is David some angelic being? No, he's a malach of Elohim. He's bringing a message. Notwithstanding, the princes of the Philistines have said, he shall not go up with us to the battle. Therefore now rise up in the morning with your master's servants that are come with you, and as soon as you be up early in the morning and have light, leave. So David and his men rose up early to leave in the morning to return into the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines went up to Jezreel. Okay? we'll go ahead and call that right there, and we'll start the next lesson at chapter 30. And there's only going to be 2 more chapters in this book, and we'll have completed the first book of Samuel. So may Yahuwah bless until we meet again. And also, again, if you have any comments, concerns, or questions, or even you don't agree, contact us at PhiladelphiaAssemblies@gmail.com. And again, may Yahuwah bless.